Well, the warm air doth get a little warmer, doesn't it? What does that mean? Well, that means it's fucking hot. God, I hate this fucking weather. Well, welcome. My gosh. Just want to like put this disclaimer out there. I fucking hate the heat. It was like 100 degrees yesterday. I was so fucking irritated. I don't know how people live in that. I have no clue how you could live in a place where it's constantly in the 90s and 100s. It's like, fuck that. That sounds like torture. You want to live in hell? My blood can't handle it. Anything below 40 degrees, that's heaven. But this shit, this is absolute hell. And it makes me very lazy. I don't get shit done in the summertime. I always just kind of, this is the time where you don't do nothing. Unless you're a farmer. But, anyway, what's been going on? Well, I'm going to work on that fucking Forgotten Series video today. I don't know if it'll be ready by tomorrow. Unless I rush it. I don't know. Worst case scenario, maybe next week. But the script's there. The structure's there, like how I'm going to do it. But I've yet to like film or do all my little things. So that's why I'm just kind of like, we'll see where this goes. I don't know. I might want to release it next week just so I don't fucking rush it. Because I want to take my time on this. I only get to work on it, twice a week, so we will see. I will try to be my best at this, though. But anyway, in the meantime, we should have some things to talk about, shouldn't we? What should we talk about? Well, there's a lot of fucking things to talk about, isn't there? There's always a lot of fucking things to talk about. One of them, I'm very excited to see what comes from this book, man. Every time I think about it, I got some new help, let's say. Someone that's working on an old story that I have, and that's really exciting to me. I look at this book as like, I remember I said it was like a platform. This is kind of a place in a sense. Well, I like to invite people into it as well, and together we work on it and create this realm. And to me, it's much in the same as like how a group of people get together to make a movie, or in the modern era to make a video game. Well, I'm getting as much as I can, and as much as my ability will allow it. I'm trying to get people together to create a book, a series, like a whole thing in that sense, because I don't know anyone that can make film and shit. But it's really interesting to like look at the people that I've worked with. They all have this ability. They all have this fucking thing that I think is very special. It's really cool, man. That's just exciting. It's super fucking exciting to see what can come from all this shit, man. I guess it's hard to like tell someone because, as an outsider, maybe you would just think, I don't know, like it's a group of people getting together to write a book. It's like, yeah, I guess, if you were to like narrow it down to its simplest form, but there's so much to it. Like, it's just weird in this sense. A group of people are getting together to agree to this world, this concept, this idea. Like, okay, I'm going to accept this shit that's existing here. I'm going to believe in it, and I'm going to help you make it even more. I was recently having a conversation with a guy that is just dipping his toes and getting involved, and hearing a perspective from a place that didn't get its proper perspective. Where this story he's trying out takes place. It takes place in a country that never really got it never got to have a voice, ever. And I think that's kind of was unfair, so I'm kind of very happy that we're dipping our toe into this. It's going to be so cool. He just gets it. I'm like, okay, I don't even need to do anything here. I don't need to direct anything. I mean, I'll kind of do it. But that's just something that I've been enjoying. Is I love it when I can you know, I have something here and you want to be a part of it, and then you're just telling me these ideas, and it just, I guess I've always wanted to be that director. It makes so much sense to me to like help you find the motivation and help you get inside of this thing you want to do, and just give you every resource I can so you can flourish whatever you're trying to say in said story or whatever it is, said, you know, series of stories even. I think it just feels so right to me. I should have been a fucking director, but this is the best I can do with what I have. Because I don't know. I just feel born for it, you know? I just feel born to like aid people in that sense, you know? Like, I love telling stories, hearing stories, and I love to see other people tell their stories, you know? It's hard for me to find that on the TV. Just because modern stories, I don't drive with them. They're not honest, and they're annoying, and they're all about cash cow stuff, and I can't find any joy in it, you know? Or they're hooked on the wrong shit, and that gets to be annoying when you have to listen to this fucking perspective again for the millionth time. It's like, we get it, okay? I think that's the problem for me, so it was always hard to get into modern movies and stuff. I can't do it. I can't. I try, then I watch it, I'm like, oh god, here we go. Like, all men are evil. Here we are. You know, or whatever happens to be. You know, just modern stupid shit. I'm just tired of it. But now I get this opportunity to, with real people, to make a story that we see as what needs to be said. And the goal that we carry is together we unravel, we discover, or we move through these ideas of just how we see things, and what can be told from a perspective of a character, or a warning in a sense, like, you know, like, don't do this because this could happen, or a tragedy, you know, or a comedy, or whatever the fuck it happens to be. Like, we all can kind of get our moment, the guys in the group here, to like jump in this and see what we can come up with and what kind of stories may surface. And to me, it's a very serious thing, like, to invite someone into this book. It's like, I don't necessarily, like, you know, you got to get baptized and you have to, like, I don't make a ritual out of it, but I got to talk to you for a while and I got to feel it out. And if it feels right, I'll always extend the invitation. Like, hey, I think you should write in this too. I have a country for you. I have a character. Here, take it, and you just do whatever you want. And then if it works out, it works out. If it doesn't, it doesn't. It's not a big deal. I've always said for a long time I wanted to make this community of storytellers. And we all have this realm, this world to work in. This place to which we can say, like, this all takes place on this planet here. Take the meta out of it, put the meta in it, and then just say, well, this is my mind, and I'm asking groups of people to help me make sense of this world, and together we can help each other. Because that's what I'm about. That's what I want to do. I want you to help me try to grasp what this place is. Help me see things that I should be seeing. Help me get rid of things that I need to get rid of. Like, I need help. And so I ask these people that I think have this enlightenment for me. And in some return, I hope that I give them something. I don't necessarily know what I could give people, because it doesn't feel like much. But I hope that I can give them something in return, and together we can create this mental community. This thought form, if you will. And the best way that I think to do this is to agree to a concept together. And I mean, it's religious. It really is, because we're agreeing, like, this realm is what exists, and everything that we're about to say exists in here, and has consequences and matters, and it will affect you. Like, we're agreeing to this idea. So it's not like we're not getting together and playing video games. Like, we're getting together and creating stories, mythologies, and those things are what guide people. I enjoy the fuck out of doing it. It's so cool to sit and do that, man. I can't really give it words. Like, to sit in a think tank session with other guys and you're plotting out a character, a scene or something. Like, let me give you just an example that happened recently. This is just me and Jacob a week ago, just talking about this book.
So we're kind of rewriting. This is going to sound like a weird rewrite. We're writing it that the South and Lyria are secretly getting along. The over-the-table stuff is that the South deals with Tantorum and conflicts with Dubois under the table, because we've talked about how the king of Lyria does not agree with his religious overlords from Etrovia. Under the table, the king of Etrovia and the king of Corone are kind of ensuring each other's continued existence. If one loses control, the other will take it over, and they've decided this is the acceptable negative outcome. Because Tantorum can't attack Lyria on this, they've got Etrovia backing them. Then Lyria can't be attacked because it's got the South assuring its safety if it survives this, which would mean the South is stronger than Tantorum and Dubois put together, and you're not going to try and fucking boss that guy around. So either outcome, Lyria is politically protected, and the South has the might to keep true to its word.
I love that, man. It's so fun to get in there and try to discover motivations of people and try to discover the scenes or try to discover the plot or something that needs work. Because we're problem solving. We're trying to figure people out, and it's, I guess if you create yourself, you'll understand. It's so weird when you talk about it as if an outsider would say, like, this is all made up. Like, why are you taking it so seriously? And as someone that's creative, you'd say, because it exists. These people, I have to be respectful to their feelings and what they're going through because it matters. This shit is important to them. And you sometimes wonder, like, does this exist somewhere? Not just in my head, but does this have weight? Do these people really exist somewhere? I believe that they do in some sense, and man, am I conflicted about it. Like what I believe and all that. But it's really grown me as a writer to work with others, because if I were to kind of give you a little synopsis of my back story, if you will, I've already told you I've grown up poor. I didn't have how would you word that? I didn't really get a chance to be academic just because you knew who you were. I grew up in an old trailer that was falling apart. I didn't get to have my own room when I was young for whatever reasons it was. The ceiling of where my room was, I guess it leaked. And I don't know if it collapsed or if it just, they had to like rip it apart because it was a bad leak. And then for some reason we just never had the budget to ever fix it. So I had to share my room with my sister for a long time. And we weren't allowed to drink the water because the water had shit in it. And there was always shit in the yard from this guy's sewage. It would just leak everywhere, make weird mushrooms grow. And it was just like a little tiny trailer park in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of the country. A lot of bad delinquent kids, as you would expect, surrounded by a forest that was probably fucking haunted. Because it was weird. But also I had a lot of bad experiences just with family life and the dynamics of that. I don't really need to go into it too much because they probably watch this and they're going to get offended. So there's a lot of good too, trust me. But my point I'm trying to say is I had that kind of fucked up weird shit. And I was super embarrassed with being poor. And I had a cousin, and they had this, to me, they had this huge house, 2-car garage, massive rooms, 2 stories. They had a fucking pool at one point. I remember they had like a jacuzzi on a deck, like just shit like that. They were so rich to me. And their house is really brightly lit. All the windows were open. You go back to where my trailer was, all the windows were shut with blankets and stuff. It was black in there. And it was always freezing, whether it's the winter because it was fucking freezing, or in the summertime because we had this massive AC, it was always freezing then too. It was always ice cold. Dark, cold place. And then I go over to these people's houses illuminated. It was strange. And they had rules. They had weird rules. We had to go to bed at certain times, even though we did at home, but theirs were different, and there was a whole thing. And then I go to school with these other kids, and I just always felt like a grubby little nothing because all these people had what I didn't, you know? I'd get made fun of for being poor and living in a trailer park by kids and stuff. It's weird stuff. And it was never a thought because no one ever told me that I could be anything better. No one ever said, like, you can be this and you can go to college for that. You know, no one did that. They just, I don't know, I was thrown in special ed and we watched movies and shit. Like, I knew who I was. I was just a nobody. I was a retard, and I just got to just keep them entertained and then let them go home. That kind of shit. It did help me gain a perspective because I people watch in the special ed classes and stuff. And these kids I didn't think were very stupid, but they just were given up on, you know. And it kind of sucks in that regard. But as I got older, I didn't really have any ambition because I knew there was no point in it. I knew that I was just going to work in a grocery store. Shocker, I actually do. I just knew who I was going to be. And so to say that you want to be a writer late in your life, mid-20s, till I finally accepted it. It was like mid-20s, probably like 26 and on. It just didn't seem real. And I didn't know anyone that was like that. Everyone that I know is either emotionally damaged in some way. We have some traumas that have caused us to be, I don't know how to explain this in a polite way, but if you ever be around poor people, they have poor mentalities. Everyone's against them. They'll never do any good. Listen to me speak, by the way. They're not good enough for anything. They fight the world really hard, and they have these dumb perspectives. They get really weirdly like aggressive and about stupid things. What'd you say to my girl? You know, weird shit like that. And that's all I've ever known is broke people. And trying to just take myself from this lifestyle and say, like, I want to be a writer that's up here. I want to be illuminated in some sense. You know how hard it was to find fucking people to help me? Because at the end of the day, all I was ever searching for was people to bring me up. And it had to be me communicating with people that were above my social class. When I met the guys in the band, like, in my eyes, they probably won't feel this way, but they were rich people to me. Because of their background, because of the houses they've lived in, and because of the families that they had. I'm like, you were rich. To me. You had, both your parents worked, they both had cars. What the fuck? You have a home. You have a house. You have stairs in your house. You're rich. You know what I'm saying? I don't care what anyone thinks. That's rich to me. You got stairs in your fucking house. You can afford it. You're rich. So like, I had to take myself and put into this world of these people that were above me. And you know what was really funny? They had more in their minds because of that. Because they were given this shit. And maybe it was a burden to them. Maybe it was a burden to be the son of people that were in the musical sphere or learned sphere. But it produced a kid that understands it. You know, like, I looked at them that way and I just thought, like, man, you guys are really lucky. You don't know how lucky you are to have parents that, like, gave you these things to do better, to be higher, to achieve more. You know, like, for me, it was I didn't get a chance to be the things that I thought I could have been because it just, we didn't have the money. There was no point. Like, well, you know, like, we can afford that. And so I was just like, well, I guess I'll give up on that one. And so that, to meet people like that, it kind of got me out of this mindset a bit. And then I moved forward, and then I meet other people. Like my cousin, I saw where he grew up, but like maybe not like his first house, but that house is huge to me. That's a mansion. Both your parents drive? They both have jobs? Holy fuck. This is crazy. And all these things. Like, you have big ass house, you got animals and stuff. Like, you're rich, dude. This is rich. This is rich people stuff, you know? And so I know that none of them will see that. I'm talking about the guys I work with too. Like, they probably don't see it that way because you get used to it. But man, I did envy them because of that. And it's a reflection. So when you feel that way, you reflect back to when you were a kid. And I have one moment, and I'm not trying to be like sappy about this shit, but this is hand to God, this is true. my vivid memory was only of me standing outside. It was getting dark, the sun was going down, and me and my sister had this friend, and she lived with her grandma, and they lived in a new trailer. Holy shit, man. It was like new. It was crazy. We're like, wow, these guys are rich. They got a new trailer. And as we were going home, probably from hanging with other friends, and walked by, and my sister went up to her door to talk to her for a minute or something like that, or wanted to, I don't remember. And I looked in, and she was sitting on the floor watching TV, and there was this yellow light on her. And I was like, man, it looks really warm in there. I was like, I really, like, there was this part of my head that was like, I kind of just wish I could feel that warm. Do you know what I mean? Like, I remember thinking that, my gosh, maybe one day I'll be that warm. It might sound stupid, but I think of that coming from the mind of a child, and that blows my mind. Like, if I heard a little kid say that to me, I wouldn't be like, yeah, you'll get over it. I would think, holy fuck. You know? That sentiment, that sense is kind of how I always felt when I would look at my friends and their lives. I would say, man, I hope one day I can get that, or I hope one day I'll find this. Because I never thought I could. And that's that life that they lived that I was so envious of. Another example, I'll give you one more. Remember when The Lion King came out? Well, I don't know how long it was out when I was watching it, because I think it was early 90s, so it must have been at least mid-90s to a little later. I was watching with my sister, and you know that fucking part where the main character, Simba, I think his name is, starts falling in love with that girl, and the music's all playing. Can you feel the love tonight? Right? Little kid, and I'm sitting there watching it, and like, I swear, I'm not making this up, because I will never forget it. I just remember looking at the screen going like, man, I bet I'll never have anything like that. You know? I just was like, there's no way I'll ever feel that. No one's ever going to love me that much. These moments go forward into my growing into adulthood, hanging out with these guys like Jacob and Billy and Kevin, my friends and stuff, these men that I think came from rich families, seeing what they have and just being so envious and like, man, I really wish I could have had that. I really wish I could have learned this. Like, look what they've done. Like, they were taught more than me. This is not fair. But I tried not to allow myself to be this pity guy, you know. I just thought, like, they have something to teach me, and we shall go forward. And ever since then, I've just kind of felt behind, trying to figure out what it is, how to do this. And because I want to be a writer, and I was never a learned person, I need these guys. They're all I have that can plug me into being more illuminated, a higher person, a better person. It's really hard to shake that poor man mentality, that being the victim and being broke all the time, and then you're like, oh, because we're poor, and you're like, well, why do you have a new flat screen TV? I thought you said you were poor. You're just bad with money. You know, all this shit was so hard to learn because no one taught you this. No one taught us about finances or how to handle our emotions and shit, and it's just depressing. Not to say that not, you know, people that have money aren't like that, but my point was I looked at people that were wealthy and thought they're probably mentally and spiritually wealthy too. And I need to be around them because they can guide me and teach me. And I could be a better person in the results of this. And so me inviting guys into this book still to this day is always like, what can you bring to me? What can you enlighten me with? How can you ease the burden of my mind, but at the same time bring about more questions that can help me find a better path forward? And it's been a fucking difficult journey because all the time I've always felt like I was punching above my weight class. Something that I told myself always to do, whether it be with women or whether it be with my ideas for this project, whether it be, I don't know, other aspects of my life I don't necessarily need to go into here. I always thought, like, just as long as you're punching above your weight class, as long as you're trying to, go out with women that are way too hot for you, or if you're trying to, like this book, trying to accomplish something that you in your mind feel like you'll never be able to do because it's so much more than you. Those are the only examples I'm willing to give right now. That was my mentality. Like, as long as you're trying more than you know you can do, then eventually maybe you'll get to that point. You just need the right apostles along the way. You need the right men that gather around you and help you make this become a reality. And here I sit in my own home. I have a wife who's pretty fucking foxy. I have 3 kitties that are all sleeping around me. On a fucking triangle, because why not? I have my own vehicle. I have a license. I have a job full time. I make more money in 1 week than my bills. Like, I'm not doing so bad. I have to remind myself of this shit. Like, we're doing pretty fucking well. And it's hard to remember that. It really is. But you got to remind yourself, look where you took yourself. You got from nothing to this. Like, that's pretty cool. You're doing it on your own. You never, because I could never borrow money from anybody. No one ever fucking has money. I'm the one. So it's kind of cool to like look and see these things happening. I'm like, man, I'm in control. I'm doing this. What next? So I guess if you meet me in real life, or like the guys, I'm always talking about this book because to me, this is that damn thing. This platform, this is the main source of lifting me up into what I feel like I should be. Because I know for a fact that I should be a higher person. And I'm going to punch above my weight class. I got all these goddamn books in here. I'm going to start reading it, even though half the time I have a hard time understanding them. Or I don't care. It's hard to read because I can't focus on the words and stuff. Like, I'm still going to keep trying because you got to keep punching above your weight class because you have to try to be something. And I want to be the best person I could possibly be with what I have. And that's mainly why I always invite people into the book, because I'm just like, you have an ability, you have something, teach me, help me, I need help. And then together we can create this amazing thing. And how cool will that feel, knowing that you played a fucking part in that, man? Come all ye writers, But anyway, I'm going to cut it from there. Like I said, I'll continue to work on the Forgotten series. I'm going to try to do some filming later and try to puzzle piece this damn thing together. Because all the pieces are on the board, but I got to how am I going to do this? And hopefully people will watch it and enjoy it. I'm going to try my damn best to be as thorough as I can be. But hopefully I will see you soon. And if I don't have that video by tomorrow, which I probably won't, I'll try to make another one. Anyway.